Yo, what's up? I'ma kick it with mine, y'all know. Yo, Slim, can I kick it? Here we go. Well, it's time to make that change. People of the world today are fading. All of us have our ups and downs. You better think about it or you won't be around. What we need is a little bit of love, sent by one from heaven up above. Check of tea is simple and plain. This ain't no game, you know what I'm saying? What? It's time. Yep, yeah. Time to make the change. Here we go. We are the people who can do it. Oh, yeah.
Here we go. Here we go. Time to make a change. We are the people who can do it. This is Larry Harris with Success to Succeed. And our guest today is Ari Grumman, who is an expert on personal credit, and she works exclusively with veterans. Ari, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
Absolutely fine. I hope to be doing better like everybody else in the audience after speaking and hearing from you. So please tell us about your business, about yourself, and how you started working with veterans.
Of course. Yeah. So I launched Credit Launch Secrets. It is a do-it-yourself credit repair program geared for veterans and their military families. And I started in the business as a real estate agent right out of college. And I was working as a buyer's agent and trying to help people purchase their first homes. And no one could get approved because of their credit. And it was going on for years, and they were enrolled in credit repair companies, and, they were promised that their credit was being fixed, and they had no idea that their credit was where it was. So I had a lot of, families lose out on opportunities and homes, and I just kind of saw the need for it. And I learned all about credit repair and, got in the credit repair business and helped my clients with that. And then eventually created my program today. Because traditional credit repair is extremely expensive. And, a lot of people don't have the success that they are expecting through it. So I created something that's affordable for them, veterans and their military families, to fix their credit, do it on their own, and get to where they want to be. So that's kind of, the program in a nutshell.
Okay. So, what other than that you saw the disadvantages that veterans were experiencing, what type of disadvantages were they experiencing as veterans that you saw that you were able to jump right in and handle?
Yeah. So a lot of veterans would be off on duty or, graduate from school and kind of go and work and really and be living on the base and have no knowledge in the, home buying industry and their credit. And they would come back with credit cards being charged off, collections, and not sure how to handle it. And with their VA eligibility as well, like not knowing what to do and how to purchase a home and using it to its potential. So it started with me really with the credit and them not having any knowledge, and then wasting time and money with credit repair companies, and then just really not knowing what to do on their end. Not really having guidance, not having a community for them. And I always worked with veterans from the beginning. I had worked with, as a realtor, you kind of connect with lenders and send them over your clients. And so I always were working with VA preferred lenders, and that's just kind of how I started working with veterans and stuck with it. But there's a lot of veterans that are just not being helped after all the time that they've served. They've kind of been off serving the country for years and then come back and their credits, ruined. So I just kind of saw that over and over again, and, stuck with them and built a program, geared towards them.
Well, let me ask you this. The main thing that you see, a lot of veterans that I've spoken with, most of them either don't have any credit, and
right.
they, and so they get preyed upon by a lot of these companies, and they're telling them, okay, if you can get a secured credit card, but it's not really like a Visa, MasterCard, or something known. They give them some kind of card with furniture, and a lot of them are duped by it. So, but in your program, you teach them how to watch out for this type of thing, how not to be duped.
Yeah, for sure. I walk you through the program is really, it's really great. It has videos and guidance and shows you from step one on what you need to do. I literally walk you through a credit report, how to build credit, provide you the resources, and explain to you all the scenarios of, what you should be doing and how to fix it. And I try to break it down to not make it seem as complicated,
Yes.
because a lot of times, and I found this because I worked in traditional credit repair for years before I built this. So a lot of the times people would just sign up with these companies, but they got no guidance on their own. And just like you were saying, they got, promotional things in the mail, as we all do, and just signed up for things or got calls from telemarketers and stuff like that. But they had no guidance from the company that was helping them. Mm-hmm. And they were sometimes doing things on their own, to ruin the progress that was being made, if there was any being made. So this is a way for you to learn about your credit on a baseline level, not making it difficult or complicated, but for you to have basic knowledge, for you to be able to live a strong credit life, from here on out.
Well, are you okay? I know that. See, I actually bought your course, and I can definitely. I know that it works. The one of the things that caught my attention, and that was you were talking about eOscar. Can you elaborate what that is so that people can understand that?
Absolutely. So eOscar is an automated computer system. So it's what answers your disputes, essentially. So when how to work on your credit, there's different factors. There's building credit, and then there's removing the negative items off your credit report. And you are sending in dispute letters asking to remove or update or delete, whatever your action is. Mm-hmm. And the bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, are getting thousands and thousands and thousands of disputes a day. So they themselves created an automatic system to answer these disputes, which in turn leaves us kind of in the dust because, the big three made this themselves. And so this was a way for them to just kind of bypass these disputes and not really answer them. So I explain away, different methods to either bypass or attack eOscar. So kind of what's going on behind the scenes, and you're not sending those blanket dispute letters that the credit repair companies are sending over and over again.
Oh, can let me ask you this question. Can could they take off charge-offs?
Sorry, I lost you for a second.
Oh.
These letters and what our program is geared towards is just working on any type of negative item. Mm-hmm. So collections, charge-offs, late payments, student loans, I teach you a way to look at it and what you're looking for to dispute them. But yes, anything on your credit report can be removed.
Okay, so that means bankruptcy could be removed too then, huh?
Absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm. There's different tactics for different types of things, for public records or charge-offs or collections. Mm-hmm. You just have to know the method to do it. But when I break it down in an easy way so it doesn't seem too overwhelming.
Very good. Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
that's great. Let me ask you this. In your experience, what type of thing are you seeing the veterans are coming? They're coming with. What's the most frequent problem that you're seeing as far as getting their credit repair? Is it no credit? Is it charge-offs or just bad credit in general?
The most common thing I see are charge-offs, and they are charge-offs and collections for credit cards that were not paid on time while they were off, serving, or they forgot about, or they opened and they never even got the card, just like you were saying before, like they were promotionally offered a card and they never followed up with it. And then they were charged a fee for opening it. which they even didn't even know about. So I see that a lot. And I see a lot of the biggest problem in general, I think, would be people or veterans, paying off collections or charge-offs that aren't necessarily good to pay. Because just going back and paying your debt is not going to get you to where you need to be. So the credit system doesn't work in the way that you and I would think about it as a normal person. You would think you can just go back and pay back all your debt and you would be back to where you want to be, but it's not like that. And you're a lot of the times wasting your money, and you need to know what accounts to pay and what accounts not to pay. Yes. So you don't waste your money and go pay a $5,000 charge off. That's not going to help you. You can use your money towards other ways that will definitely help, and will boost your score a lot more. That's probably what I see the most is charge offs. And then they end up going and paying a lot of this old debt. And then they're confused that they're not in the 600s or 700s now, because that would be the logical sense, but it's just not in the credit world.
Okay. So from using your course, is it possible for a person to work up to a 800 or 850 perfect score?
Yeah, of course. It takes time to be in the 800s. Honestly, like according to FICO, to even be in the 800s, perfect credit score, someone needs to have 8 to 10 trade lines with, 8+ years of history. So I do teach you ways to add history, to add utilization, to add credit and all of that. And you can definitely jump in the 700s pretty quickly, depending on, what's your credit report. But, pushing into the 800s does take some time. But I've seen some crazy jumps within 30 to 60 days for sure.
So from start to finish, okay. Somebody buys your course. Let's say they bought your course today, and they started. And so let's say they started tomorrow. From start to finish, how long would it take for them to get from, let's say, no credit, or just say no credit and bad credit almost the same, but get from no credit to bad credit to get into where they could purchase a house or go get a car?
Yeah, no, good question. And you're totally right. Bad credit and no credit are almost the same. And sometimes no credit is worse than having bad credit. Yeah. So if you have no credit, you've never had anything in your name ever before, it can sometimes take 6 months for a score to even populate, which is what makes it even worse sometimes for bad, credit. But it depends, you'll hear the answer a lot with credit where it depends, because it really depends on what's just happened to your credit and what's on there, and, what you're needing to do. Okay. The worst type of scenario that you can be in is someone that's currently laid on multiple accounts. When you want to start working and repairing yourself, you really have to stop the bleeding. You have to have, at least no derogatory items hitting your credit, meaning late payments, collections, just kind of like stabilized. And then we start to rebuild and remove. And it just depends how fast these items can fall off. But, I have clients that may take 6 months to a year to repair their credit. And I have clients within 60 days are ready to buy a home. It just depends on, the types of stuff that's on your credit and what credit you need to build and how fast you can get to where you need to be, with your action plan.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. Now, you used the word populate. Okay. I want you to, if you don't mind, define that for some of the listeners so they would know what you mean when you say populate.
Sure. So sometimes so when we're talking about credit scores and you're talking about buying a home, the lender's usually going off the middle score. And we're talking about 3 credit bureaus that are the major credit bureaus that the lenders are using for credit scores. Lenders are basically looking to see how likely is this applicant going to pay back this mortgage I'm about to give them over the next 90 days. Like, how likely is it for them to pay 30 days in a row without a late. And so they're going off your middle score. That's what they're going to be going off of between the three bureaus. Populating a score is where you have enough credit or high enough credit to show a score with one of the FICO models, with one of the bureaus.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes you can pull your credit and only 2 scores pop up. Sometimes no scores pop up, whether it's lack of credit or your credit score is so low it's not populating. So there's many ways to check your credit. I have some resources that I love that are soft pulls that don't hurt your credit, just to kind of see where you're at so you're not going into it blindly, whether you're buying a home, buying a car, whatever you're trying to do. It's good for you to know what's on there, before you jump into a big purchase.
Okay. Could you, for the listeners, could you explain to them what when you say soft pull, what that is?
Yeah, of course. So there's 2 different types of credit pulls. There's a hard pull and a soft pull. When you're going to apply for a credit card or a home or a car and someone else is checking your credit, they're checking your credit worthiness to decide if they're going to lend you this money. That's a hard pull because that's an inquiry on your credit report. So that's going to negatively affect you, 2 to 3 points depending on what it is. A soft pull is when you're looking at your own credit. So when you look at Credit Karma, you look at Identity IQ, you look at Credit Sesame, you look at it at your bank, Chase Bank app that you all look at. That's a soft pull. That's you looking at your own credit. So that's not going to hurt your credit. And because you can check your credit as much as you want. And all the inquiries will show on your credit report, but only the hard inquiries, a bank or a lender or an auto loan will affect your credit score negatively.
Mm. Well, what about when you do a hard pull? They're doing a hard pull for, I guess you said, for cars and for houses. Do they do a hard pull on your credit? Let's say that they were trying to get an apartment.
Yeah, they do. They do a hard pull.
Okay.
They're looking at different types of information. And whenever you're having your credit pulled, you can ask the person if it's a hard or a soft pull, to see if it's going to negatively affect you. I think that people worry about inquiries a little too much, to be honest. Mm-hmm. They're nervous about doing that to apply for a credit card or something like that. But the risk and reward is just so much better on the other end when you get a credit card, and you open up credit and you start building credit. It's very worth it to get your credit pulled. Where people get in trouble is when they start car shopping and they go to all different types of auto loan dealerships and third parties, and their credit pull is pulled 20 to 30 times, which I see all the time.
Yes.
You're allowed to shop for big purchases like auto loans and homes. You're allowed to shop lenders. But the problem is with auto loans is, when you go to a car dealership and they're like, oh, we'll try to find you a better rate with one of our internal people or our third party. That third party pool and those pools are differently coded than the auto pool. So that's when it's a different inquiry. So that tacks on another 3 to 4 points every time. That's when you get in trouble. But you can definitely remove inquiries off your credit report as well.
Okay. Well, what happens when for a house they use your middle score. Is your middle score used also for an auto loan?
Yeah, the auto lenders use the mid score too. If you have myfico.com, you can see your different scoring models, like what your credit would be for an auto loan, what your credit would be for a home loan, all of that. But yeah, they're not as stringent as a home loan.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, because a lot of people, one of the biggest questions that I probably get is, why do my credit scores differ so much when I look all over the place? I'm sure you've looked at your credit on Credit Karma or when you apply for a home and then a car, and they're all 3 different scores, and you're just kind of confused on how your credit could be different all over the place. Mm-hmm. It's just that depending on what you're applying for, they're using different scoring models. The mortgage industry is using a more strict and older version of it. So the algorithm's a little different. So it's just going to be a lower score typically. And, you know, buying a home is a much bigger purchase than opening a credit card. So it's not going to look the same.
Yes, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
When a person they start your course, okay, what would you say was is that because you know a lot of people want to go to the fast track, so I don't think with your course, you know, I actually bought your course, and I know it got straight to the point and what I needed to do, and I thought that was really good. If you could elaborate on any other little tips as far as your course, and then I want you to tell us about how people can get your course.
Yeah, of course. So the basic course, which is called the Correction Overhaul Sequence, is it's step by step. I show you, and before, like the fast track you were talking about is an action plan that you can purchase, where I'll go through your credit report for you and give you an action plan to get started. So I'll go through and tell you, try to work on this late payment, try to settle this account, work on these accounts to get removed. So it's just kind of like a little, you know, outlined action plan for you to follow while you go through the course to kind of help you out with any questions. But anyone that purchases my course is invited and can join our private Facebook group, which is really great, where I'm really active in. I do 2 to 3 lives a week. I answer questions every day in the group, along with other people that have been in the program for a long time that answer questions. We give resources. You can say your specific issues and questions, which is cool for you to, and we have a support email, and we're really active in answering questions for you guys. But yeah, the fast track gets you on the right track, you know, where it's a little bit more specific to you, where I actually take a look at your credit report and answer your questions. And then it dives right in. You know, module 1, I dive in and talk to you about your credit, what's on there, resources to build credit, how much credit you should have open, and just break it down for you. And then we get right into the first letter. And I try to make it as easy as possible with videos and guidance and the exact letter what you use every single month. Because then you'll start sending out letters. Yeah, go ahead.
No, say you start sending out letters.
Yeah, you just start sending out letters, and I show you exactly what to do in order. And I have the letters right there for you, and I have a video of me filling it out for, you know, so you just follow it. I tell you exactly how to send it, the addresses, any question you can imagine is in there. And then it shows you what to do with the results, because a lot of people get very confused with, you know, they send their first letter out, then what? And there's full guidance on whether, you know, the account was deleted or updated or still there. What do you do next? And I show you, and I think you had asked me this before, but the program guides you through 6 months of letters.
Yes.
And then the last module will show you what to do at the end, you know, whether it's buying a home, you know, if you're where you need to be, if you need to work on other additional items. And I give so many different types of scenarios depending on what the results are and what letters to send, and show you exactly in every single module me filling out the letter. Okay. So it's really great. It's, you know, it's very detailed.
Do you actually show them if how to contact what is it, LexisNexis? Because I understand they report TRW checks with them.
Totally.
Experience. So you would teach the people how to dispute a claim on LexisNexis? Yes.
I have guidance on, because there's a lot of third parties out there. Because, you know, LexisNexis really has to do with public records.
Yes.
And when you're disputing to the bureaus cannot get direct information from the courthouses or the small claims court or anything like that. They're getting them from third parties like LexisNexis. Right. So you're wanting to either dispute with LexisNexis or you're wanting to freeze them. So I usually recommend for you to freeze them so the bureaus can't get information from them. And I have a whole sheet of third parties to freeze before you get started with the program.
Well, I brought up LexisNexis because a lot of people that I've spoken to, they know nothing about LexisNexis. Could you get in some detail with regards to what that is and what exactly they do? Because I'm aware of them now, but a lot of people that
Yeah.
are listening, they're like, "What is that?" They think it's a car.
Oh my God, no. I would never think that anyone would know what LexisNexis is. I definitely did not know anything about the credit system. I had never even heard about the credit system before I got into the industry, you know. We're not taught any of this.
Mm-hmm.
So LexisNexis is just like a third party. They work just like the bureaus, but they're more concentrated on your public records, which are your bankruptcies, your your like small claims courts, foreclosures, tax liens, stuff like that. They work as a housing of data information, just like the bureaus. They sell your information just like the bureaus do to people that are looking to sell you stuff, if that makes sense.
Right.
So they're just another like data warehouse with your information, and they specialize more in public records. They have your information out there, and that's where the bureaus are getting your information for them.
So could a person like you example, some veterans, they were having medical problems. Can the medical problems, they're getting charged bills if they went to a private source? What kind of effect does that have on their credit too?
Oh yeah, medical collections are probably the number one thing I see on credit reports.
Okay.
All the time. And, I break it down for you. I have a large library of videos too that specialize in, removing medical collections, hard inquiries, all that kind of stuff. But yes, totally, it depending on if it all has to do with the HIPAA violations. If they're violating the HIPAA violations by putting this on your credit report, or if it was supposed to be covered by insurance, I cover all of that. And how to remove those. Luckily, medical collections are usually one of the first things to get removed off the credit report. But yeah, definitely. It's crazy to me, and I'm sure a lot of people have experienced this, where you can get a medical collections that's $50 and your credit score drops 100 points. It's very crazy. So yeah, I always encourage people to take a look at their credit report and make sure that you recognize everything on there. First look for items that are unrecognizable, or they're fraud, or they're incorrect, and then you kind of start from there. But yeah, I definitely touch on medical collections in the program.
Okay. What about if somebody puts I ran across people they've had someone put a personal lien on their, and they can get it where they can affect their credit report.
Yeah. So that's a public record. I have videos on how to work on liens, whether it's a tax lien. That's usually what you'll see on there. Tax liens are tricky because when you're buying a home, you can get anything removed off your credit report, but it's not relieving you of the debt. It's just not reporting on your credit report. And when you're looking to buy a home, usually a lender will do a third-party pull called a CAVERS report to see if you own it at any outstanding debt with the government.
Would you repeat that? You said a CAVERS report?
Yes, a CAVERS report. That's called what a lender will do usually before you buy another home, especially if it's a government-owned property, like an FHA loan, something like that. They're going to see if you have any outstanding debt attached. And most of the time, if you do, you're going to need to pay that. But if it's not correct, then no. Of course, you can get it removed off your credit, and I recommend for you to attack it heavily.
Okay. And that would be with the dispute letters that you sent, that you actually give to in your course?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's all included there with all types of public information. I really made this course for people to have true guidance and to really get results. I'm sick of people spending thousands of dollars with these random credit repair companies and not seeing results, and being in a worse situation with disputes all over their credit report and no guidance in what they needed to do. And it really is not difficult. You know, credit repair companies the bureaus make it seem difficult, but it's not. You can totally do this on your own in an extremely affordable way.
Okay.
You know, and we lay it all out for you.
Well, let me ask you this question. Do you offer in your services? What if if someone offered they want to just pay you to do it for them? Do you offer that type of service?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We have a different side of the program where we can handle the dispute letters and do the program for you. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. So you guys actually, you're doing the handhold, you're actually handholding the person and going through all the steps, but you guys are actually doing it for them, correct?
Yeah. So there's two, there's my DIY program where you purchase the program like you did, and we give you all the letters and the guidance, or the other side of the program where we do all the letters for you. We work on your behalf and send out the dispute letters and continue to do so throughout the 6 months for the program. And we're using the exact same letters that we do in the program. These are all after I worked in real estate, I worked for traditional credit repair for years, and I know exactly what works, what doesn't, and I've been doing this for a long time. And we're using the exact same letters that you are using in the DIY program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So in your DIY program, do it yourself. You're doing it yourself, and then the other side is that you have it where you're actually doing it for the person. You're writing the letters.
Yes.
Okay. You're responding to whatever that they respond back?
Yeah, exactly. So we always recommend, if people aren't familiar with this, it's a credit monitoring service where and I like Identity IQ, and it's a way for us to look at your credit each month and see where you're at every 30 days. So we can see what was removed, what wasn't, updated, and we continue working on it for you. So you have some sort of monitoring system. Go ahead.
So you would recommend the client, the customer, and the listeners to get a credit monitoring service with you, so that they can actually see where their credit is and where it was and where it's going and how it's going to be.
Yeah, totally. I recommend that while you're working on your credit, whether it's us or you, for you to have a monitoring system, because you can see every 30 days you get a new credit report. And the bureaus the way the disputing process works is you send in dispute letters, and the bureaus have 30 days to respond to your dispute letters. Your investigation, asking them to investigate this item, and you want them to delete it if they can't prove it. So if you have a monitoring system, it's really great for you to track your progress and your results every 30 days, because you can see what's been updated on your credit report. Okay. So once you start working on your credit, once you get the hang of it and you send out your first letters, you'll be waiting 30 days for the responses. So you have time to get yourself situated, get logged into your Identity IQ and know what you're doing. So it's not like, you would think it's so overwhelming and takes a lot of time. It doesn't. It takes, once you get the hang of it, you can do it in 10 minutes each month, sending out your letters.
Wow.
It really is, it's totally doable. And that's what I recommend for people to do. But yeah, when you're working on it, it's not a day-to-day thing. When you're looking at your credit, it's not changing day to day. The creditors report to the bureaus once a month. It's kind of a snapshot in time of what your credit was at. So I'm sure, a lot of people will say, I just paid down that credit card and it's not reflecting on my credit score. Why isn't it changed, one day to the next? And it's because these creditors report to the bureaus once a month, and it's just not updated yet. So it's, you have to wait every 30 days to see some progress and see what's happening. So I recommend anyone that's looking at their credit, looking to buy a home, looking to buy a car in the next 6 months, to have a monitoring system. So you can just see where you're at, see where your score is, what's been removed, what you have to continue working on getting removed.
Do you offer that service, or would you recommend another service?
I recommend Identity IQ. It's a third party
Okay.
that I've partnered with, and I think it's $21.99 a month. It's
Okay.
like $20 a month, and you get a free a credit report for all three bureaus every month. I'm not associated with them. I just have an affiliate with them
Right.
for my clients. Instead of it being like $30 or $35 a month.
What's the website for that Identity IQ?
Yeah, identityiq.com.
Okay. Okay. The other thing I was going to ask you, I just having to think about, do you work with, or have you worked with, or how would you work with someone that suffered identity theft?
Oh yes. I see this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I have an entire outline of what to do, but it's kind of tricky, because when you have identity theft, you're going to want to put a freeze on all your three bureaus, and you can't really do much work on your credit when you have identity theft, because you're trying to get them removed off the credit report, but you're not wanting to let anyone touch your credit, and open up anything in your name. So depending on how severe it is, I always want you to look at your credit report. And then if you really feel like you need to file something with the Federal Trade Commission, file a police report, put a freeze on your credit reports so no one can open up any more credit in your name. And then you start disputing just like you would with the letters, your validation letters, but you're listing it out a little differently. You're attaching the police report, the Federal Trade Commission report, and I have this all outlined in my program step by step with links. It's
Right.
very detailed, but
Yes, it is.
you will want to kind of put a halt to anyone being able to open up credit in your name or anything like that, and make sure nothing else no more damage is done. If there's one or two accounts that you don't recognize and there's not active identity theft, then I recommend for you to just move forward with the program like normal. But if someone's constantly opening something in your name, you need to put a freeze, a fraud alert on all three bureaus and freeze them. And then file a police report and attach that to your investigation letters and showing it's not correct.
That makes sense. That makes good sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a scary thing. I see that all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't recommend you just to freeze the bureaus for one account you don't really recognize. But if it's something that's active, then yes, because it's a whole process to unfreeze it. And then when you apply for credit to build credit, sometimes that the account's frozen. And if you forget the PIN, it's a whole scenario. So, definitely move forward with that. If it's something that's very serious, then you definitely, you're going to want to freeze your accounts.
Okay. Well, let me add, and the question I have, what would you say the education level of someone, if they bought your system, they buy your program, Credit Launch, what would you say their reading level or their education level should be to get a full grasp and understanding of the program?
Oh, I mean, I know it's like, this is not a fun subject for anyone to hear about. You can't make it's hard for me to talk about it in a fun way and people wanting to think, hear about it. But credit affects you in every aspect of your life. And if you really just take the time to, 10 minutes a day to learn a little bit about it, it's going to benefit you so much in your life. And this is very basic. I walk you through everything. If you have a question, you reach out and ask. These are very basic levels. Anyone can do this from high school up. I promise you.
Okay. So would you give us your website so they how to get your course?
So I put a link up for everyone for half off for listening to the show.
Oh wow.
And so you can access it there. And then but our home is creditlaunchsecrets.com. And then for the discount, it's creditlaunchsecrets.com/veterans with an S. Okay. And you can always email me at any time with any questions at REARI@creditlaunchsecrets.com, where you can check it out. creditlaunchsecrets.com has my free web training there, which was about an hour long of me training on some basic stuff on credit. And then the half off link for you guys is creditlaunchsecrets.com/veterans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Are you amenable to allowing some veterans family to access your program?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
And I encourage people to work on this together. A lot of people, families will work on through one program. You follow one program for the family. A lot of husband and wives, brothers, sisters, families work on the program and watch the videos together and do it together.
Okay.
And it's only for the cost of one. I'm not going to charge several programs. I want you guys to learn this together. I want you to join our Facebook group and ask questions and really start achieving those goals and what you want to do, and take the next steps. It's not always a fun topic, and it's something that I know people have frustration with, and we're here to try to make it fun and exciting and, have some hope to get to where you need to be.
Okay. What the people that are coming through on your what would you say your success rate was with the people that are actually getting your program?
I honestly, what I always say is 99% of the time you're going to get to where you need to be if you follow the action plan and follow the rules and what to do. If you're following the plan and you're getting these items removed off your credit report and you're building credit just like you should, but you're letting other derogatory items hit your account and you're not being, on time with your payments and you're kind of being sloppy in that area, you're not going to get the results. But if you sit there and you follow it step by step and you build credit and you start removing those negative items, you are going to have success. You 100% will see a change in your credit. It's just when new negative items hit that I see, a downfall. You really can only go up. You cannot damage yourself. We're here to help, and these are all positive things and putting you in a positive direction.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. It's just getting started.
Yeah, well, that's just to take action to get started. Normally, what do you find? What do you find it takes people? How long it takes for people to get started after they? I know a lot of people they'll buy the course, and I was guilty of myself. I bought the course and kind of sat on it.
Yeah.
What would you say was the norm for people to get started?
It's hard to say. There's definitely a smaller percentage that get started right away, but the people that do see success right away, you have to just kind of force yourself, just like with anything else in life. No one wants to go to the gym. No one wants to work out. No one wants to eat the salad.
Yes.
But in your mind, you always think about it. There's always goals in your mind that you're thinking about, and they kind of drag. And, it's just those things you have on that list that you're trying to cross off that'll take you 10 minutes, but you put it off for 4 weeks. It's just like that. But the people that do, there's a large community in the group that have had a lot of success and started right away and motivate the others. So, it's all up to you. This is a DIY program. So it's up to you on when you want to make changes in your life. There's no better time than now. Rates are lower than ever.
Yes.
In the lending world, and we have nothing else to do, people. We're home. No, we can't go anywhere, so it's time to just put some time aside to get yourself ready for the new, for fall.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. When once the people have achieved success in getting their credit, getting their credit straight, how would you say they begin to start to build credit?
I recommend for people to build credit right away. I think that should be one of the first actions that you take, because if you're not, and there's a lot of people, especially veterans, that use cash. Right. A lot of people follow Dave Ramsey, he has great programs and procedures and ways of thinking. for sure.
Right.
But the one thing is that you have to have credit because, you know, you have to show the banks and these creditors that you can make payments on time. They don't care that you have a 25,000 limit credit card. They care, you know, it could be a 100 limit credit card. They just want to show that you're consistent and you can make that payment. So I recommend for you to build credit right away. Start making payments, because even if you were to remove every negative item on your credit report, if you didn't have enough positive credit to lift you up, then you're not going to get to where you need to be.
Wow.
So for sure, I have resources. I have a lot of really cool resources for secured cards, for unsecured that are automatic approval, for 5,000 limit cards that you can get approved for right away to help clients with utilization. You know, it's the way to play the game. You know, if you don't need to pay down all these credit cards, we have some tricks that we can help you with, where you don't need to have money out of your pocket.
Okay. Is there any way, as when you repair your credit, where you don't have to have a they call it a PG, a personal guarantor?
What do you mean?
Well,
like an authorized user?
Right. Yes, because I know that was one of the things that back in the day, people were like husband and wife. They would say the husband had good credit and the wife would piggyback, but I understand they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, so there's lots of companies out there that sell credit lines. I'm sure you've heard of them.
Right.
Which I definitely do not recommend,
good.
because it's illegal anyways. I don't think it's illegal, but if like a lender were to see and know that some kind of, someone's credit card was on there that you have no idea about, it probably shouldn't be there. And it's a very, temporary help for you. But it's, there's definitely other ways to build credit. Authorized user is definitely a trick where you can get added on to your wife or family member's credit card, but it's not always the way to go. There's plenty of resources out there now to help you get you where you need to be. And there's a lot of, because authorized user is more for the credit history, not necessarily the positive credit. It's to give you some credit history. So there's a lot of resources now, like rental reporting and stuff like that, that'll give you 24 months of rental history. So it'll bring that on there for you.
What about most everybody has a cell phone. Do you know if the cell phone companies report to the credit reporting agencies?
I don't really recommend it. I see it all the time. Like Experian Boost, I'm sure you've heard of.
Right.
I don't really recommend them because they only report to one of the bureaus. And remember, we're trying to boost up all three because they're working with the mid-score. So it's only going to be one bureau. You're giving them access to check your checking accounts and saving accounts, and you don't want to give the bureaus or any company more access to your information. So I don't really recommend those. They usually will help you with like 1 or 2 points, but in the long run, you want to build an installment credit that's across the 3 bureaus that's really going to help you out in the long term.
Wow. That's good information to know.
Yeah, because I see it all the time. Believe me, I'll see, credit reports with 6 telecom reportings on there, and it's just usually the Experian Boost.
Okay.
How they advertise it that it's great for you.
Yeah. I mean, that was my question. It was going to be, they advertise that, and how important was that? It just seems like it's something to draw you in.
Yeah, it's another way to get more information on you, to sell information. Yeah, and you don't really need to give them any more information. There's plenty of other stuff out there. You always want something that's reporting to all 3 of your bureaus, to give you the maximum amount of points that you can.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So
that's why we're here. We're here to help you.
Yes. Would you give that website again and the discount? Would you say that one more time, please?
Yeah, of course. It's creditlaunchsecrets.com/veterans.
Creditlaunchsecrets.com/veterans.
Yep. Credit launch secrets with an S.com/veterans.
Okay.
And that's the half off link. And email me with any questions. If you want to jump on the phone, we can set up a phone call for anyone that has questions about the program, at ARI@creditlaunchsecrets.com. And then, if you just go to creditlaunchsecrets.com, there's my free training, my free webinar, where you can kind of see how my teaching style is, how the program is, and reach out with any questions at all about it, and, if you're ready to fix your credit and you are, ready to learn about it, and you failed in the past and you haven't seen results, and this is definitely a program for you, to excite you, to get you some hope, give you some hope, and, get your score to where it should be.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
What would you say would be, I guess, a fair score? Let's see, going forward, I know to buy a house normally you need a 680 or something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely much higher now. It's due to like what we're going through right now.
Yes.
But usually with the VA home loan, it's a 580. 580. But that's the bare minimum. It's rare that you see anyone really getting approved with a 580. It's usually at least a 620 or above. But to be more realistic with rates and to get a better deal would probably be a 680. So you're right. But yes, it depends on what it depends on other factors too when you're buying a home, not just your credit. But yes, higher the credit, the less questions the lenders are asking you.
Very good.
Yeah.
Good. Very good. So you've been doing this for quite a long time, and you've had many successes in doing this. Are you getting people from all over the country getting your course?
Yeah, all over the country, from everywhere. It's really cool. It's fun because we can all chat in the group, and everyone has different scenarios. Everyone has different situations, and it's kind of like a puzzle piece, where someone can. It's cool because everyone's can relate in certain ways, and people can jump in and talk about certain scenarios. But yeah, it's for people all over that are using the course.
So in your community group, in the Facebook community group, how many members would you say you had? How large is the group?
We have a few thousand members now.
Wow.
Yeah. Mostly people that have bought the program. Some people that are just credit nerds like me, that are helping out and help out with the clients, and or some people that are just kind of there and interested in the subject.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ari, I like the information that you put forth. I actually bought the course, like I said myself, definitely to use it. I like the fact that you will handhold the people and actually do the work for them, and that you're very personable. I don't want this to be the last time that we have you on. We're going to set up a series to have you come back on and discuss some more in depth. For even as those people get the course, they can come back and ask questions. In fact, we'll set it up where you will have a question and answering period, a live question answering period. Would that be amenable to you?
Sure, that would be great.
All right. Okay, you've been listening to KBRG Digital Broadcasting, The Bridge. And Ari, I'd like to thank you once again for being on the program. Is there any parting pearls of wisdom or nuggets of wisdom that you'd like to leave for the people about their credit or just about life in general?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people with their credit kind of feel hopeless, and they're sick of it, and they feel like there's no end. And you definitely can do this. You can see a huge turnaround very quick. You have to be positive about it, because I promise that once you work on your credit, a lot of opportunities are going to open up for you, whether it's buying a home, buying a car, refining your car, and not having any issues when you need to apply for anything, and not being rejected over things over and over again, and that not being a worry. So it's going to give you a lot of freedom, and, whether it's going into business as well or whatever you want to do. So just give it a try, be positive. Just because you've had a negative experience in the past doesn't mean it's going to happen now. So I definitely want people to be positive about it and, give it a try and give it a shot.
Okay. And one more thing before we go, please give your website again and about the half off discount. That would be great.
Yes, of course. It is creditlaunchsecrets.com/veterans. And email me at any time at Ari at creditlaunchsecrets.com.
All right. You've been listening to KBRG, Success to Succeed, with your host, Larry Harris. Our guest today was Ari Grumman from Credit Launch Secrets. And we will attempt to bring more people such as Ari and have Ari on for a series of in-depth credit to get your credit straight so you can go out and buy those things that you wish to have. Thank you for listening. God bless everyone.
Thank you.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be bright.